Top 10 comedy films of all time. I don't think we've talked about comedy for a long time, at least. Here's the consortium of critics, and I disagree with it because I looked at the top 15, and my favorite comedies are in 15 through 11. But I'll reveal those later. Top 10. Number 10, Borat.
No.
Yeah, that deserves to be in there. I mean,
it's good,
maybe not in the top 10.
It depends what else is in there and what's left out, though. I mean, let's go.
I
like it. It's his best movie without a doubt, but
yeah,
by far.
It's a funny movie.
Still, it's a very funny movie, but I don't know if top 10. No.
Number 9, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's about right, too. I mean, I'm looking at my own list now, and of the best comedies.
You know, I've never been a Monty Python person, and it might not actually be the fault of the movies themselves. It might be the fact that in school, that's all anybody quoted, and so I came to resent it.
Interesting.
Not so inside joke of conversations that they'd have with these movies, and I'd be like, oh God, you think you're so cool for school because you're quoting this all the time.
I loved it. I remember loving Monty Python when I was in school. In
Monty
grade
Python's
school.
Flying Circus was great. The show was just fantastic. I mean,
number 8, Team America.
Okay, I can already see where this.
I
going.
I like all three movies. So but this is okay. Keep going. Just keep going.
I love Team America. I mean, I don't know if it would occur to me to put it on a top 10, but I mean, I do laugh myself silly in it.
Great movie, but still.
Yeah.
And comedy is so subjective. You know, it's involuntary whether you laugh or not. But I guess a great comedy, maybe it's the repeated viewings after you know all the jokes. I mean, does the artfulness of the movie itself still revive feelings of humor? And
right.
Exactly.
Number 7, Withnail and I.
Again, another movie I like. I just wouldn't put it in the top 10.
Yeah.
That's all.
Number 6, The Jerk.
I could definitely see. It's probably one of Steve Martin's funniest movies, without a doubt. It's a weird list. This is a very weird list so far.
This is a list of a movie of a person that doesn't watch anything before the 1970s.
Well, not at least in the top 10 so far, but he's got Some Like It Hot at number 15.
That should be like number 1.
That should be like number 2.
Number 1 or 2, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 5, they have Groundhog Day.
Okay.
I love it.
Number 4.
You know.
I love it. Number 4 is Annie Hall.
That's my number 1, so, I mean.
Yeah, okay, I could see, okay.
Number 3, am I 3? Okay, Life of Brian. Big Monty Python.
Nah.
It's a funny movie, but I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can have both Monty Pythons in there. I don't know if you. And I actually kind of like Life of Brian a little bit more than Holy Grail, but still, I just don't. All right, keep going.
Number 2 is Airplane.
Yeah, it does belong. It does definitely belong on here. Yeah.
That's I can understand that.
Yeah, that's hysterical. And my favorite Zucker Brothers is Naked Gun, and that's in the top 15.
Yeah.
Their number 1. Their number 1 is This Is Spinal Tap.
That deserves to be in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I put it as number 1, but it definitely deserves to be in the top 10. So this is an interesting list. I mean, no doubt about that.
I mean, I guess it's funny. If you're assessing comedies, you have to be assessing it number one on the basis of how many times it makes you laugh. Then, you know, the quality of the movie, obviously. And whether it really is a comedy or not, too. Like, you have to, like, see if it's really a comedy. I mean, there might be some people who, like, I consider Sullivan's Travels a comedy, but some people might not, you know. Some people might not see the humor in it. And, of course, you have to take into account the influence of the movie. But for me, my top 10 are Annie Hall, Some Like It Hot, Dr. Strangelove, City Lights, Spinal Tap, Blazing Saddles, Sullivan's Travels, Holy Grail, Duck Soup, and The Graduate.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, you know, I was thinking, you know, I would probably put Animal House and Stripes somewhere in there, but yeah, that's. I mean, you have to put Strange. I think you have to put Strange up, and I think Duck Soup definitely. And you need a Marx Brothers film and a Mel Brooks film in the top 10. You've got
to like pay some kind of lip service to the 30s when comedy was really king. I mean, they were making tons of great comedies back then.
They do in their top 15. I mean, Duck Soup is in their top 15 or so, and so it's not like they haven't seen it or given it credit. Their organization is a little weird, but you know, each his own.
Right.
Yeah, I think they were probably going by just number of laughs, which, you know, what made us laugh in the 30s, I guess, has changed from, obviously has changed.
Well,
and
I agree with you there, Dean. I understand what you're saying. Look, we had, like, I remember a long time ago on MySpace, people were, like, debating that the Marx Brothers aren't funny anymore, and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. That stuff is timeless. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
I think it's timeless. I mean, but especially.
Maybe there might be some kind of disconnect. You know, there's obviously some kind of disconnect.
Let me throw out the person's name. Let me be a real asshole and let me throw out the person's name. Tony Farinella. Okay.
And
he was just like, the Marx Brothers aren't funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you get the wrong Marx Brothers movie, like if you get into something like their later stuff, like Love Happy or something like that, then you might be mistaken. But if you see the right one, you have to see the early ones.
Duck Soup or Horse Feathers or A Day at the Races or
all
great. Night at the Opera.
Night at the Opera.
Yeah, all.
Yeah, but there's also this. There's also this. I hate it anytime somebody makes. I mean, when you read a list, you can clearly tell if people don't know what the hell they're talking about. But I hate it when you have a list. Like I've posted lists before, and Dean, you have too. And somebody will say, no, insert title here, and I'm like, well, motherfucker, you just read it. Did you see that title in my list? Or if they'll say, this is all wrong. You should have blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, no, it's not all wrong. This is my list. If I posted your list and I didn't have those titles, then it would be wrong. But, you know, I hate that attitude. But you can clearly see where people don't know what they're talking about.
Right. But I guess at the point I'm making, I just never like that thing we're going to disregard the past, so it's not because old, it's not funny.
Right.
I just think that's a horrible way of looking at anything. I mean,
well, we got Strangelove on here. It's not a problem with this list necessarily.
No, this list is actually pretty good. If we were going to, this list is not bad. I mean, this is Spinal Tap as number one is very reassuring.
None of those movies are bad movies that they mentioned. I don't think that the list takes into account the history of movies, or at least the top 10. The top 10 does.
Top 10, yeah.
I mean, let me just read some others, from my list, just to give the audience a little bit more food for thought. Number 11, just down to 20. I'll just do the top 20. The General, The Lady Eve. Manhattan.
You gotta have that. You gotta have The Lady Eve.
I mean, no Preston Sturges on here. It Happened One Night. American Graffiti. Local Hero. The Big Lebowski. Airplane. Tootsie. The Awful Truth. And then going further, The Gold Rush, Breaking Away, Paper Moon, Ball of Fire, Toy Story, Young Frankenstein, Brazil, Oh Lucky Man, MASH, 20th Century, the great Howard Hawks movie, which I think I would raise up even further because that movie's hilarious. Animal Crackers, Groundhog Day, Animal House, It's a Gift, no W.C. Fields, Modern Romance, no Albert Brooks, Palm Beach Story, Borat, Arthur, Susan Bruce, What's Up, Doc, Richard Pryor, Live in Concert, Bad News Bears, Being There, Napoleon Dynamite, Hard Day's Night, To Be or Not to Be, Office Space, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Safety Last, and Galaxy Quest. That's my top 50.
And that's an awesome list. I mean, that's a really great comprehensive list.
Because it hits all the things, you know. It hits all the areas.
Yeah. Well, they have, at 13, they have Naked Gun, and at 12, they have The Big Lebowski. And those are the two movies that make me laugh the most.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I see them. I mean, it's literally, it's the only time I've wet myself in the theater from laughing so hard was when I saw that first Naked Gun.
Mm-hmm.
When they walked out of the theater on their date, and they were laughing hysterically, they're having such a good time together, and the camera pans up, and they just walked out of Platoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love that.
That is funny. The hardest I ever laughed in the movie was, and I still remember it because I had a massive headache afterwards, you know, but it was a good one. Was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when when the car goes between those two 18-wheelers, and Steve Martin turns to look at John Candy, and he's in a devil outfit. You know, he's laughing, and it's not even devil makeup or anything. It's just a cheap devil costume or something. That just kills me. And plus the shot of them looking at the oncoming trucks and their skeletons. They're so scared they've turned into skeletons. All of that, in that space of that 30 seconds, I laughed so hard that I literally thought my head was going to burst.
Well, and then the part that always gets me is like when he's trying to remember where he knows John Candy from, and it cuts to an image in his mind of John Candy's face through the taxicab window, but it's just a disembodied taxicab door that somebody's holding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the most odd visual.
Yeah.
I had my friend Rick loves John Hughes, and I've had conversations with him about the best John Hughes movie, and he thinks it's probably like The Breakfast Club or something. And I'm always Planes, Trains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is his best movie, for sure. Just in terms of comedy, balanced with humanity and sentiment. I think that it's got it all. Plus, the two performances are fantastic, and you never know where it's going either. You're never quite sure where it's going to go. I agree.
But isn't it weird how the guy that was renowned for the teenage or the adolescent angst comedy, his best movie is probably the one he made with adults.
Yeah. I mean, I think Breakfast Club is obviously the movie that's most emblematic, I guess, of John Hughes, and certainly the movie that people remember most from him. But I don't think that it's his funniest movie, and unfortunately, it's got some of his worst scenes. So there's nothing worse than that scene in Breakfast Club where they're smoking weed, and I guess there's a shot of Emilio Estevez like yelling so emphatically that it breaks the glass in some door or something, and I'm like, that just makes me want to get up out of the theater and walk out. It's so embarrassingly bad, I can't even look at it. So that brings that whole movie down a star for me. Right? It's just
but then again, it might
movie
be your depression talking. I mean, we don't really know.
Well, that would mean that I've been depressed since I was 15, so which is possible.
that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.